Barcelona is the champions of Spain, won and presented. Inter Milan are the champions of the Italian Serie A, won and presented. Bayern Munich are the champions of the German Bundesliga, trophy won and presented. PSG are the champions of the French Ligue 1, won and presented. In fact, if we go to the lower leagues, FC Porto are the champions of the Portuguese League, won and presented. Galatasaray, champions of the Turkish League, won and also presented. And you can go on and on and on. PSV, champions of the Netherlands Eredivisie, won and presented. But in England, the title race is still very much on and feisty. But then that could come to a conclusive end this midweek, or should I say between Monday and Tuesday night, depending on how results go. So Fahad, on Monday night, it's going to be Arsenal taking on Burnley. And it's going to be Arsenal's final game at the Emirates Stadium. Of course, they would have loved that they get to lift their first trophy in 22 years at the Emirates Stadium. But it's looking like it's not going to be that way. Whatever happens on Monday night, Arsenal will be lifting their trophy if they get to lift it at the Shells Park. A small stadium, but I'm sure Arsenal fans will do everything they can to make it their home on the final day of the Premier League. But before we get to that, they get to play Burnley tonight. And Burnley is one team that could throw spanners in the work if you allow them. They have nothing to lose. And someone used to tell me that the person you should fear the most is the man that has nothing to lose. Because then you don't even know what the person wants. You don't know what the person is playing for. And you saw it in the way Burnley played Manchester City. I mean, the whole Manchester City was only able to sneak in one goal against Burnley. So Arsenal taking on Burnley, final game at the Emirates Stadium. What are you expecting from Mikel Arteta and his boys?
Well, for Mikel Arteta, I think they are getting there, because for a very long time they've always been calling them the bridesmaid, the bridesmaid. Looks like finally
they have become the bride.
They might just be the bride. Yeah, if you look at it, Arsenal right now, they know all they need to do is just get 3 points get 6 points in your 2 games, and you're champions. And one of them is at Emirates Stadium, so they get to play in front of their fans, get to actually get all 3 points in front of them. And if you look at how they've been playing in the last few weeks at the Emirates Stadium, I won't say they might not have been superb at all that, but they've had this rejuvenated kind of form. Like levels now, they've been kind of rejuvenated, more like they are playing better than they were playing a couple of weeks ago, where it felt like it looks like
they're just dragging themselves.
It looked like a couple of weeks ago, it felt Arsenal they might just capitulate. It might just be like as usual Arsenal at the end of the day. But then they dragged themselves. I think the game against Fulham was where they actually turned things around performance-wise. They played better against Fulham, knowing fully well that they had Atletico Madrid. I think the match between Atletico Madrid, Fulham, and Atletico Madrid game was very, very crucial. Went away to Atletico Madrid, got a draw, came back, played Fulham again at Emirates Stadium, got a convincing 3-0 win. Played Atletico Madrid again at Emirates Stadium, got a 1-0 win. So you can see that match was very, very. Those matches were very crucial,
and we saw a surge in their confidence after those matches.
So
they could finally believe that, hey, we can actually do this.
So getting to the final of the UEFA Champions League is another added boost for these players. So they are saying we can actually do it. Now they'll be looking at Burnley in front of them, who in the last 9 games that they played Arsenal at Emirates Stadium, they've just won, they've drawn once, and they lost 7 times. So Burnley don't really have a good record at Emirates Stadium. And for Arsenal, even if their starting 11 are not doing very well, they can still look to the bench, because their bench has scored 17 goals this season for Arsenal. So that shows you that he trusts the bench also bringing goals for them.
All right, let's talk about the starting 11. We talk about if the starting 11 cannot do. Who do you think should be in the starting 11 for Arsenal this season? I mean, maybe we know what the defense line would be, except maybe for right back. We expect, in the absence of both Joel Timber and Ben White, who is now out of the season, maybe Musquera comes in at right back. But then the midfield. In recent times, it's been Skelly, Zubimendi,
Kelly
Skelly
Rice.
Rice. But then we saw when um, Ben White got injured in their last game, he
Took
put Rice
to
on the
right
right
back.
back and put Skelly and Zubimendi in the midfield. Didn't
Didn't
really
work
work
out.
out.
Yeah.
So, how do you think would he bring back Zubimendi? Would he put Skelly? What is that midfield dynamics you're expecting against Burnley?
I think for Mikel Arteta, since the game against Fulham, where he used Miles Lewis Kelly in midfield, I don't think he has kind of looked back and said, "Let me change it again." Apart from the fact that Ben White got injured and he put Declan Rice as right back, I don't think he will see that he has a need to actually change the midfield. So I don't think he will still go with that midfield of Rice, Skelly, and Eze in attack. So Musquera goes to play as right back, and I think that he will stick with that basic.
So Zubimendi is still on the bench, Odegaard still on the bench.
Yeah, Odegaard still on the bench. Zubimendi still on the bench as well.
All right, let's talk about the other game. Now, this one will be played on Tuesday night, but of course, equally very important. Manchester City up against Crystal Palace. Their initial, no, sorry,
Bournemouth.
AFC Bournemouth, pardon me. Manchester City against AFC Bournemouth. That was the game they were supposed to play during the weekend that they played the FA Cup final. Now, AFC Bournemouth on a roll. I think 16 games now unbeaten, and it is expected that it is AFC Bournemouth that will win the Premier League title for Arsenal on Tuesday night. And honestly, I don't think they are wrong. Yes, Manchester City have been amazing. They have been this, they have been that. But I saw them against Chelsea on Saturday. I don't see them going past Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium.
It's actually very dicey because for Pep Guardiola, last season at Vitality Stadium, they didn't get a win there. I think they lost at Bournemouth last season. So right now, Bournemouth are on a very, very incredible run, 16 matches unbeaten. And this is a City side that, yeah, you can see that okay, they are kind of unbeaten as well. But if you look at it, City side are still beatable. One thing is, if you can get 2-3 chances against the City side, if you can take them, definitely you.
I mean, Chelsea got their chances in that FA Cup final.
If you can take your
You just didn't take them.
You definitely get to beat the City side. And one thing this City side has shown is that once they go behind, it's very, very difficult for them to actually win the game. We saw it against Everton as well. They went behind. They found it difficult to actually defeat Everton because they know that if they go behind, the pressure is on them. So these guys, they'll be playing under pressure, and it's kind of difficult for them to actually play under pressure. And one thing that will be crucial for them is Rodri. Will Rodri play? Will he not play?
He was in the FA Cup final, even though he didn't make much impact. He was eventually substituted, but was in he started the FA Cup final against Chelsea.
So that's the question. If Rodri plays and is on his A game, it's going to be very, very crucial for Manchester City. But if he doesn't play, and it's probably Nico Gonzalez or Tijan Redders that plays in the pivot that plays Bernardo Silva, it looks different compared to when Rodri plays. Because I think when Manchester City, since Rodri came back from injury, he has been that kind of glue for Manchester City. He has been crucial for them going on that unbeaten run that they were.
We saw during the weekend Manchester United's final game at Old Trafford. And for Michael Carrick, who as of this moment we still assume is leaving, we saw how important it was for them to get a win in his final game at Old Trafford. We saw how important it was for Michael Carrick to leave Old Trafford on a high. Well, for this game, it's going to be Andoni Iraola's final game at the Vitality. He's definitely leaving in the summer, and I'm sure that as his final game in that stadium, he would like to secure a possible Champions League space for Bournemouth. They can do that if they beat Manchester City. They will secure the 6th position, and all they'll be doing is waiting on Aston Villa to win the UEFA Europa League final and confirm their Champions League space. Wouldn't that be an additional motivation for Andoni Iraola? Forget about whatever is going on between Arsenal and Manchester City. But even the AFC Bournemouth has something. It's not like Burnley that they don't have anything. Even AFC Bournemouth has something at stake. They want to secure that sixth position so that anything happens with um with Aston Villa in the UEFA Europa League final, they can start celebrating Champions League football. So Andoni Raiola, as his last game at the Vitality, wants to win this game.
Yeah, it's
so it's not a dead rubber game.
It's not a dead rubber game. I think a lot of games in the Premier League kind of have consequences actually. So if you look at it for Bournemouth, they'll be looking at it that Liverpool lost earlier on in the weekend. They lost to Aston Villa. So they'll be looking at it. If we can win our next two games, and Liverpool actually loses their next game, they might just be usurping Liverpool into that fifth position. So this is more like a big game for them too as well. They need to win this game if they want to stand a chance of going into if they want to stand a chance of playing Champions League football by from the league position. So they want to win this game by themselves as well. So it's more like an added impetus for them as well. And for Andoni Raiola, you'll be looking at it that last game of the season in front of the Burnley fans and the Bournemouth fans. Why can't I get a win against Pep Guardiola?
But I've always gotten the better of more times than not.
And it's going to be a big story because it's going to be an interesting story because Bournemouth, if they get a win against
they go fifth.
and that means they'll kind of put an end to the Premier League title.
Yeah, Bournemouth wins it for Arsenal.
That's like the headline that would be there. Bournemouth, Andoni Raiola's last final game for Bournemouth, wins it for Arsenal. So I think they will definitely want to play. They want to put in their all, and they've got players that can do it. They've got Ryan, they've got Krupi, they've got Ivan Nielsen, they've got Scott. These guys can actually hurt any team, any day. We saw them do it against Arsenal at Emirates Stadium. If Man City are not careful, these guys can actually hurt them.
Okay, all right. So let's do predictions now. Arsenal against Burnley on Monday night. I mean, goals are important now because Manchester City have overtaken Arsenal on the goals chart. So, how much goals do you think Arsenal will score against Burnley?
I don't see Michael Jackson and his team doing anything. I don't see them dancing anything or what. I see Arsenal getting 3 goals to nil.
3 goals to nothing.
Yeah, 3 goals
against Bournemouth at the Emirates Stadium. And of course, AFC Bournemouth at the Vitality.
I think for Manchester City, they will need Ryan Cherki to be very, very influential in this game. They need him to be influential, and if he can be influential, I feel Man City will get it. Slim victory, 2-1.
2-1 Manchester City slim victory. Well, Antoine Semenyo returns back to familiar place. Just not long after he left the same stadium for Manchester City. Can he come back and hurt AFC Bournemouth's ambitions of playing Champions League football next season? I guess we'll find out.